Hi everybody,
Hi guys.
Kuroda here. Rachel's with me.
Hello.
It's been a while. Let's do a tier list. I was just thinking this the other day that it'd be nice to do a tier list, and I was thinking, well, what is something that I could do in terms of like a game series or something of that nature where I feel like I've played enough of the series that it could warrant me doing a whole tier list. And I thought Zelda, and particularly I thought it was good timing because of the announcement of Skyward Sword HD.
That was announced?
That was announced. See, she doesn't even know. It was
Yeah,
at the
I don't keep up
it
with
was at the
these
Nintendo
things.
Direct, yeah.
Cool.
So because of that announcement, I thought I would do a Zelda tier list, and with me is Rachel because she's definitely played more Zelda games.
I like
so
Zelda, yes, but I haven't played a lot of these. The ones we're going to be
well,
talking
I
about.
feel like we could fill in the gaps for each other, and I thought we could try to do a like sort of I would consider this list somewhere between objective and subjective in terms of opinion.
I don't think there really is any objective.
I mean,
Something
some people,
like this is
a lot of people
concerned.
would say like the top tiers are going to be Ocarina of Time, Wind Waker,
Yeah.
games like that. Like I can't see putting Phantom Hourglass, above stuff like that.
Yeah.
For him. The point is like just trying to figure out where we personally between us think that the Zelda games could
Will fall.
will fall. Yeah. There's a couple things before we really get started though. I want to just deal with like out of the gate. First of all, Breath of the Wild 2 isn't even out yet.
Can we just put anything that we both have not played in D tier?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
And
Yeah.
consider that to be the unknown.
Yeah. So I got
tier.
some comments in some other ones about like, oh, how could you put this game in this tier? I always use the bottom tier as the I haven't played tier. So
Okay.
we'll state this again very loud and clearly. D tier doesn't mean it's the worst game in the
It
series
means
or in the bottom
D
tier.
as in do not have an opinion.
Yeah, D as in do not have an opinion or did not play.
Yeah.
So that goes in there. I haven't played Master Quest.
played
Have you?
Master Quest,
You've
yeah.
played it, so we'll keep it in. Let's see. We got the remakes here, the HD ones here. Skyward Sword HD. It's the same game as Skyward Sword, but it's not out yet. That's going there.
Yeah.
I can already say neither of us have played Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. That just came out a couple months ago.
Correct.
I haven't played this weird Tingle game.
Same.
And I think, have you played Link's Crossbow Training for the Wii?
I didn't even know it existed.
Yeah, we'll put that in haven't played. And I have not played. Have you played Spirit Tracks?
No, but I was just saying today I really want to.
Okay, so I haven't played Spirit Tracks, but otherwise, I think between us, we could go through the rest of this list.
In fact, when we're done this, I'd like to crack that out
Okay.
and make it a project to play that.
There you go.
So-
This video has already inspired you to play Spirit
It
Tracks.
has.
So.
I've been wanting to for a long time, and I just never really got around to it. So.
So that being said, all those prerequisites aside, this, my friends, is our ranking of all of of all the Zelda most of the Zelda games from it's a tier list
Since the dawn of Zelda.
since the dawn of Zelda. I like that. So it looks like they've organized this list chronologically. Seems like a really new list considering they freaking have Skyward Sword HD on here. So why don't we just
Let's
go
get right into it.
from the beginning to the present?
Let's do
So we're gonna of course start out with the original Zelda game. What are your thoughts on this one?
So
Go ahead.
I have played the first two only very briefly
Mhm.
on that collection that came out on the GameCube.
Mhm.
So I played like all of 2 minutes of this game, so I really can't have an opinion. That being said, I did watch Walt play all of it
Yep, he live streamed the whole
on this
thing.
channel, and I enjoyed that. But that was probably in part the commentary. I don't really have an opinion about the game.
I've
itself.
played more than you have. I've played the first maybe 3 dungeons, which isn't enough, I think, to rate it 100%. I feel this is a game that I really think I need to play through because I mean these days I find it, and I know there's certain parties here. I'm thinking specifically of Steven, who are big NES fans. NES was before both of our. I didn't have an NES in my house. You didn't either, right? Super Nintendo was both of our systems. So for me, and I think you, a lot of NES games kind of went, and they're just they were a little before my time. So there's a lot of NES games I really haven't played in depth.
So are you gonna rank this or not?
So yeah, I'm sorry. We gotta get.
That's all right.
It's the big one though. You know what I mean? So long story short, we both played it. Not enough. I think it warrants a B tier. That's what I think.
Scandal. The
I
scandal
think it
of
warrants
all.
a B tier. You know, I think the series has come a long way since that first game. It was a pioneer for sure, but I don't think either of us have played it quite enough, and I don't think it stands the test of time quite as much as some of the other Zelda games we're going to talk about here in a couple minutes. So, what do you think about that? B tier?
Sure.
B tier? And for Adventure of Link, I know it's got its fans. I'm voting for C tier. What do you think?
I have played it for all of 2 seconds. But I know it's not considered to be as good as the first, right? So if you wanna talk about, well, you said objective, but I think what you mean is like the kind of collective opinion about it.
Yeah.
Right? We're gonna be factoring that
Well,
in.
the thing is, it does also have it has quite a fan base too. There is a lot of people that really love Zelda 2. I haven't put much time in it, and to be honest, a big reason I haven't put as much time as it is it just really didn't grip me. It's too, it just feels too foreign to be considered, for me, to feel like a Zelda game, and I think that's a big strike against it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So I would put it in C tier, personally.
So be it.
Okay.
Jedi?
So be it. Jedi. Or Octorok. I don't know. I'm so hungry I could eat an Octorok! Alright, enough of that.
Alright.
I kind of want an executive decision, put A Link to the Past in S tier.
Very interesting.
It is my favorite Zelda.
It depends on how I'm reviewing S tier, because I would have reserved S tier for, like, the top couple, as far as my tastes go. So I probably would have put it in A tier, to be honest. But I'm okay with it being an S tier.
I think it... yeah, and I think a lot of people... There's people who say this is the best Super Nintendo game, you know? There's a lot of really...
Well, are we going on our personal opinions here, or
Well,
the
it's my
collective?
favorite Zelda, so I'd put it in S tier. So, yeah.
Okay. I say we do our personal opinions unless we don't have a lot of information, and then we'll draw from the collective.
Okay, that works. Okay. So, for me, I'd put it in S tier. Where would you put it for you say you probably put it in A?
Yeah.
I really do think it deserves S tier. But
Okay, I'm fine with it.
I think we'll do that. Okay, Link's Awakening, the original version of Link's Awakening.
I have not played the original. I love the remake, but we'll get into that. So I don't really know if I'm qualified to comment.
This was the very first Zelda game that I ever played when I was a kid. And I don't think it got me into the series, but I have a lot of nostalgic memories of it. And we will talk about the remake later, but I think it's a really good game. I personally would put it like... It's at least B tier above the original Zelda, but for me, I think it might make an A tier.
You do you.
So...
We gotta, by the way, make a disclaimer that even games that are gonna end up in B tier are games that we like and think are good.
I have not played a bad Zelda game, so another prerequisite, another little belated prerequisite here is that I don't think any of these games are bad, at least the ones that I've played. Oh, actually, that's not true. But,
That's impossible! Okay, I'll stop with the Star Wars quote.
It's impossible!
No more Star Wars
There's
quotes.
one game for me that I thought was legitimately not very good.
Okay, we'll get to that.
But I'll explain that later. So I'm gonna put it in B tier for now, Link's Awakening, above Zelda, and then I want to see what ends, the first Zelda, I want to see what ends up in A tier, and I may adjust that accordingly.
Okay.
I'm gonna let you decide the next one.
I feel like this is kind of obvious.
Yeah.
Ocarina of Time.
Ocarina of Time, it goes in S tier.
Of course it goes in S tier, yes.
And I'm a big enough person where I think both of us would say this is an S tier game and it deserves to be at the very top.
I think it should be in a double S tier that doesn't exist.
Fair enough. Ocarina of Time is my second favorite Zelda game, so the fact that we both consider S tier, I think, pushes it above A Link to the Past. But yeah, that's I don't even... What do you have to say?
But
Anything?
Majora's Mask? Wait, are we talking about Majora's Mask now?
No, I'm still talking about Ocarina of Time.
Oh, okay, that doesn't belong in a double S tier. That belongs in solid S tier.
Oh, Ocarina of Time
because
does?
It's a glorious game,
Okay.
yes. I was jumping ahead.
Yeah, I was talking about Ocarina of Time. I think
it's a classic.
I think we both consider it S tier though, right?
Oh yeah, it's a classic.
So yeah, that was just a no-brainer, easy one. Majora's Mask. Go ahead.
This is what I was suggesting be in double S tier.
So I think this also, for me personally, it would be an A tier, but I think I'm okay with it. I think it deserves to be an S tier.
Okay. I don't know if the viewers saw, but for a second they're like, the light went out of my eyes, and I was about to be like, well, I am not going to finish this tier list with you if you're going to contest that being an S tier.
I'm okay with putting it right here. We could consider it equal with A Link to the Past because I ranked it A and you ranked Link to the Past A, and then vice versa with S. But A Link to the Past is in front of it because I am the one holding the mouse.
But the viewers know which is the superior game.
Link to the Past. I really respect Majora's Mask. We've talked about this for a long time. I really respect that game. So
no need to be petty. They're both great.
And while we're at it, before we move on to the next ones, would you say now? I know you haven't played the 3DS version of Ocarina of Time. I played like 2 seconds of it, and we both played the Majora's Mask remake for 3DS. Do you think they should just go right with the other, like the original versions in S tier, or do you think they're different enough that we should put them in a different ranking?
Well, I don't really know with Ocarina of Time.
But Majora's
If
Mask,
it's comparable to Majora's Mask, I would say yeah, it should just go in together because they're quite similar.
It seems like Ocarina of Time is as well. So what we'll go ahead and do is just put them both there because, and I want to play the 3DS version of Ocarina of Time at some point.
Same, yeah.
But I haven't. So disclosure there. Please put in the comments if you have played it and you think it's very different. I know there's just slight like mechanics and stuff that they changed in Majora's Mask, and a lot of people have issues with it. But fundamentally, it's the same game, so I think they just both should be there.
Yeah, and you said this right. We did play the 3DS.
Yeah.
Majora's Mask.
Yeah, this kind of clutters up our S tier, but it really is just 3 games. So Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons. Have you played either of these?
Nope.
Guess what? We have a couple more for the haven't played.
For some reason, I thought you had.
I've never played these either, so.
I think Steven really likes those, if I recall.
Have you ever played Four Swords for the Game Boy Advance?
No.
Okay. I've played a little tiny bit of this. It seemed like it was okay from what I played of it, but I haven't played a ton of it. I'm going to just throw it in C tier for now. Just because I don't have enough experience with it. I'm almost tempted to throw this and, for that matter, Four Swords Adventures in D, because I haven't played Four Swords Adventures.
I have also not played Four Swords Adventures. However, just a small anecdote. Dave owns that game, and we're just trying to gather up enough Game Boy Advances to play it together, which would be a lot of fun. I really want to do it. For some reason, like I have like 4 Game Boy Advances, and for some reason 3 of them are missing.
Yep.
So to be played at a later time.
Yeah, whenever we get the equipment for it. I'm just gonna throw that in. I guess haven't played, right? So we technically haven't played it yet. I feel like that is a game though that could potentially go up there because well, I'll talk about another game in a minute, but the multiplayer Zelda format I kind of like. So Wind Waker.
Well, I don't want to clutter up our S tier, but I would consider it S tier.
I consider it S tier too.
So be it.
Yeah, sorry, it's a big S tier.
Yeah. It's a classic.
And for that matter, Wind Waker HD, which we played on the channel.
There's just a lot of good Zelda games.
Yeah, there is a lot of good Zelda games. Yeah, Wind Waker HD, which we played on the channel, was amazing. In fact, probably better than the original. Looks better. Had some nice quality of life improvements. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what to say.
It's great.
It's great. I did not play this game. Well, actually, I've played a tiny bit of this game. You completed this game in recent years. Minish Cap, where would you put it?
Okay, I really liked it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd probably consider it more B tier.
B tier, really?
As in, like, a solid good game.
Solid good game?
But didn't totally, like, blow me away like some of the S tier ones.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay.
But it's cool. It's really creative. It's different. If you like the, like top-down or whatever you want to call it.
Top-down format, like a Link to the Past
Zelda,
kind of thing. Yeah,
it's a solid installment.
Yeah, it seemed like it was good. That's another one I got to run through. I played a bit of it randomly on my phone. I had an emulator of it. I don't mind saying this, but like, scandal upon scandals. I don't know why I did that. Scandal upon scandals. Ooh. But yeah, I didn't really play a ton of it. So. Cool.
This is where we might run into some issues. This next game.
So Twilight Princess, I think, is a bit of a divisive game. Not as much as other ones that I can think of on this list. For me, I think it should be our first A tier.
I probably would consider it like a low B tier.
Wow. So this one is probably one that I would say, hey, there's a daisy. We have a bit of a difference. I don't know, man. I think maybe we should put
like low A tier, perhaps.
Well, it's going to be the only thing on A. Let's stick it in A for now, and then we'll revisit it at the end, okay?
I just think it's very overrated. There's some really cool things about it, but... didn't rock my world. Other than Midna, you know?
Oh, yeah, Midna. Like, the aesthetic of it is one of my favorites in Zelda.
The aesthetic's cool, yep.
And I thought the dungeons were really awesome. I really liked it.
There were too many of them. And
Well,
there was too little other detail in the world.
This also is a difference in the kind of Zelda fans that people are. I'm a dungeon guy. That's my favorite parts of the Zelda games. So, like, A Link to the Past, Twilight Princess, that's my bread and butter right there, you know?
Yep.
You seem to like more of the,
I like
exploration.
The world,
yeah.
Towns, side quests, that kind of stuff.
Daisy yawning.
Looking at Daisy at all times.
Alright, we'll stick it in A tier for now, and leave it there, and then we'll see where we go with it. Phantom Hourglass, you haven't played, right?
I played it for like 5 minutes.
This game is unplayable. It is the sticker star of Zeldas. I'm sure it's got fans. I hated the controls, and I just couldn't.
It was.
I couldn't get into it.
Did you have to use the?
You had to
stylus?
use the stylus. Yeah, I did not like the controls.
So be it. Oh, somebody's trying to get attention.
I know. Kitty cat. So this next one is probably the biggest miss for me in terms of playing a Zelda game. Skyward Sword. I've never played it. You have played it though.
Okay, I would say. Sorry for being silent. I'm having a hard time with this.
It's okay. I haven't played it, so I can't really put it in.
Like, I don't know. Low B tier or high C tier?
Wow, really?
Like,
would you
maybe
put it
low B tier. I kind of enjoyed it. It started out strong, but it just kind of got weaker and weaker.
Would you put it below? Would you put it below the original Zelda?
I don't know. I barely played the original, you know?
Okay. And seeing how this list is turning out, by the way, I'm putting Link's Awakening as a low A tier because I think it's a great game.
Fair enough. Okay, so that's about it about like the Skyward Sword. I also think I got my hopes up way too much with that game, which is probably part of what makes me feel the way I do about it.
What I was saying about a divisive game, it definitely seems like this is probably the most of the mainline Zelda series. And even recently with the reveal of it coming to Switch, it seemed like a lot of people were pretty lukewarm to it. I personally still have to play it, so maybe that's something we could play, or maybe I could just play myself.
I'd play it, yeah. I'd give it another chance. Like, it wasn't bad, and aesthetically it was cool. There was some cool music. The world of Skyloft was pretty cool. But there were some problems with it.
Fair enough.
Like revisiting areas when we could have been going to new, interesting areas, etc.
Yeah, that'll be one I play soon. Not on the Switch though. I'm not spending $60 for that freaking game when you own it. This one, I think, for the sake of the amount of games in S tier, I think it's a very high A tier.
I was gonna say high A tier, yes.
Link's Awakening. Legend of Zelda: Link Between Worlds. That game was great.
I loved it. I loved it a lot more than I thought I would. Yeah, it was just solid, you know.
Yeah, it may even, for me personally, even just make S tier, but I think a high A tier is fair. It is.
Agreed.
In my opinion, from what I played, the best handheld Zelda game.
They just can't all be S tier.
No, they all can't be S tier. Yeah, so I think it deserves a solid A tier.
Cool.
And Triforce Heroes, I'd put alongside it.
Yeah, that's a great game.
And a lot of people are gonna really scratch their head at that one. But for me, I think that, I mean, you and I had a ton of fun playing that with James.
Oh, it's a lot of fun.
With Matt, and we played with Walt a bit. He used to troll us. That was always fun.
Just a fun game.
We haven't. I want to say it's the best multiplayer Zelda, but I barely played Four Swords, and we have yet to play Four Swords Adventures. So I don't know. Like I said in that video that I made of top 10 games I want on Switch, that's a big one for me. Is a multiplayer Zelda game. That'd be really fun. I hope Grezzo makes another one because they did a good job.
Okay, this next game is going to be interesting because I feel like we kind of have different takes on it, and also I think both of our opinions about it are quite different than the mainstream opinion.
I think, for me personally, I think it belongs in B for Breath of the Wild tier, or that's what I would pick for myself. But I think, honestly, I think it deserves A tier, like low A tier, because it really is like it's. I don't know how to describe it. Like I wasn't able to. It did suck me in at times, but I felt like for me my interest in it didn't retain my interest in the same way that other Zelda games did. Now that could be less so for me the game, more so not playing as many games in recent years. But there's other games that, like, to this day that suck me in. Like Mario Odyssey sucked me in. I loved that game. So I don't know. I want to say like high B, like low A for me.
Agreed.
You would say that?
Yep.
You want to add anything to it, or
why don't we put it in high B?
High B? Okay.
Yeah, I know people adore this game, and I feel the same way. I didn't get completely sucked into it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I can't say that. I didn't get
sucked in for a little bit.
Yeah, I didn't get sucked into it the way that everyone else did, in the way that I got sucked into a lot of other Zelda games. But I did get really into, for several bursts of time, into just exploring the world, you know?
Same.
So in that way, it was an amazing game. Just like roaming the lands. I enjoyed opening up those towers and stuff. Like, the exploration was cool. The story didn't grab me that much.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of things I didn't like about it, like a lot of the changes. Although I do appreciate that they tried to do something different.
Yeah.
And, like, the dungeons were kind of weak.
Yeah.
So there were pros and cons, but I did get sucked into the world at times.
Yeah, it's a beautiful game.
Yes. And the scope is amazing.
The scope, it's incredibly ambitious. It's really taken the Zelda series in a totally new direction, but I don't know if I'm 100% on board with that being the new direction.
I'd be okay if there were some Zelda games like that,
yeah.
And then we also have some of the classic style Zelda
yeah.
games.
Now,
I love that.
Now, Link's Awakening, we've been, of course, streaming that. That's been right up my alley.
Oh yeah, I'd call that like higher A.
I would put it like I'll put it between Triforce Heroes and Link Between Worlds.
Like, I love that game. It's almost S tier, you know.
Well, again, we mentioned this company Grezzo. They've done these 3 games: Link Between Worlds, Link's Awakening, Triforce Heroes. I love what they're doing with the Zelda games.
I didn't realize those were made by the same group.
Yep, it's the same group. And there's rumors that they may be working on something else, which I wouldn't be surprised.
Ooh.
So, to see them maybe remake, I'd love to see the original Zelda remade, or even Link's, it'd be kind of cool to see what they could do in the modern era with Zelda 2.
Or just a new Zelda
or
adventure in that style. That'd be cool.
Yeah, or a new Zelda in that adventure in that style, or another, as I said before, Triforce Heroes-esque multiplayer Zelda. So, I think
love that, yeah.
I love for like the classic style Zelda. I think they're just knocking it out of the park. So yeah, I would agree. I've immensely enjoyed Link's Awakening. It's been a blast streaming them. Actually, it's been a hoot. It's been such a hoot streaming them. Don't you?
Once again, the light leaves my eyes. You know.
I don't know. Anyway, moving on. I've never played Master Quest, so would you care to elaborate?
I don't really even know where to put this on a tier list because it's just Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
With some silly changes. Most of the changes I don't really remember. All I remember is that there's like a bunch of cow heads sticking out of the walls of Jabu Jabu, like things like that, So, like, yeah, it's Ocarina of Time, which is S tier, but it just made a bunch of stupid changes that didn't have to happen, in my opinion, based on my memory of it, so I don't know what to do with that.
Yeah, I
kind of want to just put it in D, even though, like...
Yeah.
I mean, I've played it, but...
How about to make this to make this tier list look aesthetically pleasing, we put it in the C tier right there.
And it's not that I don't like it,
Yeah.
but it's just like, yeah, you know, it's just different.
It sounds like it's just like Ocarina of Time plus, really, you know?
Yeah, but not even plus as in it enhanced it, you know?
Also, this is Twilight Princess HD, which I think should just go with Twilight Princess. I played a bunch of this on my original channel, Select Player with Walt.
And it will never be finished, much to Rob's chagrin.
Yeah, it probably won't be finished. So I might have to just end up playing that game on my own at some point. Walt doesn't want to play it again because he said he hated the first like 3 hours of it, which is a fair statement because it starts out slow, but I think it gets a lot better.
I would play through that game with you at some point if you wanted to.
Maybe we could. Maybe we could even pick up the old Select Player file. I don't know.
Because I never beat it, you know.
And the last one is Hyrule Warriors. I think it's the original. Let's just assume this is the first Hyrule Warriors game. I loved Hyrule Warriors. Does it belong in A tier? Probably not. I'd probably put it in like... I'd put it like right behind Breath of the Wild. Maybe even Minish Cap.
I've only touched the game briefly, but I really don't like that style of game. Like the Dynasty Warriors kind of...
I'm gonna put it in the...
thing,
I'm gonna put it square in the middle. Is that alright?
Sure.
Okay, that's fine. I'd probably put it, like, for me, upper B tier, something like that. But yeah, that style of game doesn't really lend itself well to everybody. So, I also don't think I was into Breath of the Wild or Hyrule Warriors enough to get Age of Calamity. Like, it just kind of seems like, hey, here's Hyrule Warriors with a Breath of the Wild skin, and
which
some
is funny
more
because
story, you know?
Hyrule Warriors, isn't that kind of just like an already existing game with a Zelda skin?
Mm-hmm.
Or am I incorrect?
Yeah, it's basically Dynasty Warriors with a Zelda skin.
Yeah.
So it's like, here's a skin, here's an alternate skin on another game that was originally just an alternate skin of
People
a game.
seem to like those games, though.
I like them. They're fun. They're fun. They're kind of fun to just kind of like
slash away,
hack and slash at like tons of enemies and get them. And it was cool playing as those different characters. They had DLC where you play Skull Kid and stuff too.
Did they have
which is
Midna?
Cool. Yep. They had like
cool.
most of the mainline Zelda characters that you could think of from all across the whole
pretty cool
series, yeah. So, let's review our tier list. So I think D is solid. We haven't played any of these. S, I think, is solid. It's basically 1, 2, 3, 4 games, but, you know, obviously we just included the remakes and remasters
love
with them.
all those 4 games.
Those 4 games, I think, deserve that spot.
Oh yeah, they're great.
For me, as far as top tier, if you're gonna get personally with me, I would switch where A Link Between Worlds and Majora's Mask are, and I'd probably move Twilight Princess up a little bit, and that would probably be my top tier. But otherwise, I think this is pretty solid. You know, I'm fine with Majora's Mask being in S tier.
Yeah, my S tier I think would probably not include
Link to the Past.
Link to the Past. It'd probably be like a high A tier.
Right, and so you just have those 3 games: Wind Waker, Ocarina of Time, and Majora's Mask. Fair enough. Yeah, so A tier, I think Link Between Worlds, and I think these first 3 are
great. Love it.
I personally kind of want to move up Twilight Princess. I'm going to put Twilight Princess above Triforce Heroes, just because it's a spin-off.
I guess. I would put Twilight Princess lower, personally.
Wow, okay.
But to each their own.
And the original Link's Awakening, I think, deserves to be an A tier as well. What do you think about Minish Cap? Are you okay with Minish Cap's placement?
Yeah, like I said, it was a solid game,
okay?
but it wasn't... I mean, those are some amazing games at the beginning, you know what I mean? So, like, it being in B tier doesn't mean it's not a great game. It just means that there's a lot of great games above it.
Yeah, none of these games, except, in my opinion, Phantom Hourglass, is bad. And I'm sure Phantom Hourglass is a fine game aside from the controls. I just really didn't like the controls. But there are definitely just the top shelf amazing games, and then there's some that are pretty good, you know, but don't blow me away, you know. I wonder what people are going to think of where we put Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will not like that. And something like, I also want to say again with Skyward Sword, you know, because I feel like maybe I was a little critical of that game and put it quite low. It's still a pretty good game. You know? So even the B tier games are still good.
Hey, even Zelda 2 is a pretty good game. Like I liked it, kind of, but it was too different. It was too I don't know. It hasn't aged well, I think. I mean, I think that's a debatable position, but I don't know. It just didn't. I have really no desire of going back and playing it, so to me, it's like a C tier.
And Four Sword Adventures, you've played enough of to put in C tier?
C tier? Oh, that's Four Swords.
Oh.
That's like the. It basically was part of A Link to the Past for Game Boy Advance, and it's just like just like another multiplayer adventure. So.
Oh, and you would consider that C tier?
I haven't really played a ton of it. Like, I really don't remember. Like I was saying before, I kind of want to put it in D tier because because I played it so long ago. But
okay, so it's ambiguous.
It's sort of ambiguous D/C tier. So
okay.
Anyway, that's it, guys. That's our tier list. Be curious to hear your thoughts on what your favorite Zelda games are. You know, I'm sure people are going to disagree with this list. I'm sure some people will agree with some of it. Let us know in the comments what you thought. Any other thoughts?
That's it. We love Zelda.
We do love Zelda. Hiya!
We'll leave it at that.
Bye, guys.
Well said.
Peace.